Hey guys, today I'm going to be reacting to a video called 5 American Animals versus 5 European Animals Who Would Win. So this is very funny. Maybe it's going to be quite informative. I don't know, but this makes me laugh. So I don't know, but let's check it out.
Although North America and Europe have an ocean between them, they both have species that are closely related to each other. This is because North America used to be connected to Asia and Europe through the Bering Land Bridge. Many different species could travel across this area freely, and this is just one of the many reasons why North American animals and European animals are closely related to each other. In this video I will be comparing animals from both of these areas, and estimating which one would win in a fight. I'll be going through 5 species from Europe, and 5 species from North America, and we'll start off with the European badger. Now this striking creature is native to almost all of Europe and has a very large stable population. Because of the lack of large animals in the UK, the European badger is actually the UK's largest land predator and is one of the best well-known British species. In the wild they live an omnivorous lifestyle, both taking a liking to plant matter and small creatures. During the day badgers mostly spend their time underground, in their burrows which are called setts. Although some European badgers like to spend their life on their own, most European badgers are social animals. They can live in groups of up to 25 members, but their social behaviour is largely dictated by the availability of food. But this striking mammal also has a North American counterpart, the American badger. Even though this species has a similar appearance to the European badger, they are not closely related. The American badger is known for being a little meaner than the European badger and lives a more solitary lifestyle. They live life slightly on the more carnivorous side and predominantly feed on smaller mammals such as gophers, squirrels and prairie dogs. Because of this diet they're found in more open areas and are typically found around grasslands and prairies. To be able to get at their prey they are impressive diggers and spend most of their time looking for burrows of small animals. But even though the American badger has a very mean reputation, they are slightly smaller than the European badgers, as the European badger can reach a length of around a metre and weighs 17 kilograms, whereas the American badger maxes out at around 75 centimetres with a weight of 15 kilograms. I didn't know they were so heavy! For this round I think it's 1-0 for the European creatures. Really? But our next creature is the Eurasian otter. Now this semi-aquatic mammal is native to large parts of Eurasia and is the most widely distributed member of the otter subfamily. These otters have webbed feet and this makes them impressive swimmers. They can mostly be found in freshwaters, where they're usually seen munching on fish. Although they're mostly seen as freshwater animals, the Eurasian otter can be found on the coast, where it's more than happy to try a bit of seafood. In many parts of Europe it is the top freshwater predator, but in recent years it's had more competition. The American mink is invasive over large parts of Europe and in most cases directly competes with the Eurasian otter. This along with habitat loss, overfishing and hunting have led to this otter being threatened in some areas. Luckily for these otters they are much loved creatures and many people are dedicated to helping them. Unfortunately this wasn't the case for the extinct Japanese otter, which was considered to be a subspecies of the Eurasian otter. But as I'm sure many of you know, there is also a famous otter in North America named the North American river otter. Now this otter only lives on the North American continent but lives a very similar lifestyle to the Eurasian otter. They have slightly more to choose from when it comes to food in North America because as well as fish, they're also known to take down large numbers of turtles and crayfish. These otters are known for being extremely playful, and juveniles can often be seen chasing each other. Although this may look like just fun, it helps them improve their skills of catching fish. Now it can be very hard to tell these two otter species apart. The North American river otter has a shorter neck and generally has a longer tail compared to its body. The Eurasian otter is the only otter in much of its range and also tends to be a little larger. They can reach a maximum length of around 1.4 meters and reach a maximum weight of around 24 kilograms. The American river otter on the other hand has a maximum length of around 1.1 meters and maxes out at around 15 kilograms. So although both these animals are very lovable, that now makes it 2-0 to Europe. But our next two species are both the Eurasian brown bear and the grizzly bear. The Eurasian brown bear is the most common subspecies of brown bear and is found throughout much of Eurasia. They feed on a wide range of foods, eating various different types of plant matter such as berries and also targeting the largest mammals and fish. Their size and power makes them very dangerous and it's best to keep your distance from these bears. In North America an average of 2 people a year are killed by bears. In Scandinavia there's only been 3 fatalities from bear attacks in the last century, which makes it seem like Eurasian brown bears are less aggressive. Unfortunately the truth is not as simple as this, as many other factors affect the frequency of bear attacks. In Romania in late 2019, brown bears were responsible for killing 3 men in just over a month. The cause of these attacks are sometimes desperation, because when we decrease the habitat habitat of these bears. There's less food to go around, and they are forced into highly populated areas. But famously, this bear also has a North American cousin, the grizzly bear. Although grizzly bears are known for being fearsome predators, some grizzlies can be surprisingly small. On the eastern slopes of Alberta, some adult grizzlies are known to be even smaller than black bears. They vary in size from area to area, mostly due down to competition and food availability. But when it comes down to maximum sizes, the grizzly bear can grow a lot larger than the Eurasian brown bear, as the European bears max out around 2.5 meters and weigh 480 kilograms, whereas the grizzly bears can reach a height of around 2.7 meters and weigh 770 kilograms. So, don't call it a comeback! But North America has clawed one back. But our next two animals are both the European bison and the American bison. Now, I've been through both of these creatures many times on this channel before, as they're not only very similar in appearance, but throughout their history they've had a very similar story. During the early years of the 20th century, European bison were once hunted to near extinction. They were only saved because they had small captive populations, and these populations were bred and then released back into the wild. This bison is the heaviest wild land animal in Europe, and is only ever targeted by the largest of predators. In most cases, these predators were humans, wolves, and bears, but the two latter species are now rare in most of their distribution. The only other living species of bison in the world is found in North America, and is definitely the more famous of the bison species.
Oh my God,
it's one of the most iconic
playful
animals of America's grasslands. But just like the European bison, it was once threatened with extinction. A combination of commercial hunting and slaughter in the 19th century, along with the introduction of bovine diseases, almost wiped out these iconic mammals. They had a population of around 60 million in the late 18th century, but the species was down to just 541 animals in 1889.
Oh my God,
this is one of the most devastating wild animal slaughters in the whole of human history. But luckily today they have made a comeback. Now both of these giants are very similar in size, with the European bison being slightly taller at the shoulder with a height of around 2.1 meters, compared with the American bison's 2 meters. But the American bison can be a lot heavier, with a max weight of around 1,200 kilograms, compared to the European bison's 920 kilograms. Although the European bison is taller, I think the American bison wins this round, and it's 2-2 going into the last two animals. Now there are 8 subspecies of moose recognized today, some of them living in North America, and the rest living in Europe and Asia. Moose are the largest and heaviest extant species in the deer family, and truly are one of the largest land mammal species alive today. Unlike other species of deer, they tend to live a solitary lifestyle, and tend to enjoy life in thick forests and around wetland areas. Despite their size, they are impressive swimmers, and are very happy in marshes and wetlands. Their size gives them protection against most predators, and even wolves and bears will only really attack juveniles and sick individuals. Predators aren't the biggest threats to moose, as they have a much smaller threat to worry about. Brainworms are parasites contracted from eating snails, and the larvae of these worms find their way to the moose's brain. This causes neurological damage, and has led to a worrying decline in moose numbers. Millions of dollars have been poured into helping these animals, and hopefully they'll be able to bounce back in the future. But when it comes down to size, the American subspecies tend to be a little larger than the European ones, as they can reach a height of around 2.1 meters at the shoulder and weigh 700 kilograms, compared to a height at the shoulder of 2 meters and a weight of 600 kilograms. So overall, it looks like the American species have come back to win this competition overall. I know this flag doesn't include the whole of North America, and this one doesn't really represent Europe, but it was easier than putting up all the individual flags in this video. If you want me to do this style of video with any other continents, then let me know down in the comments below. But thanks for watching, I hope you enjoyed. If you liked it, please leave a like and subscribe if you want to see more videos like these. But until next time, goodbye.
It was not funny. It was actually quite informative. I have to say, quite depressing actually. The whole, like, they basically made the humans, like, as the human race, they made the bison almost extinct. I had no idea, and that's making me so depressed, because they, in like I think it was 1790, they had like 65 millions of them, and then by like the 1800s, they had like just like 500, which makes me like so depressed. Like, humans are like the worst kind of thing that happened to like nature, and I know that it's just like, come on, how are you? I know that I'm exaggerating a little bit, but you know, at the same time, it's like, well, if you're a bison, or if you are an animal, you're gonna be thinking your humans are the worst thing that ever happened to us. And you know what, a lot of the species sadly can say that, because again, it's like, yes, I know that humans are, you know, we as humans have also like done great things, but also we've done like a lot of bad things, especially to like nature and animals, and this is like one of those things that is they almost like did a genocide. Like, this is awful. And yes, I know that apparently like the population has improved, the population numbers, it hasn't gone extinct, but it almost did. So good that they made an effort to actually, you know, make the population grow again. But this is, again, so sad to think like they basically hunt them down to extinction. That's so sad. And I'm wondering if it's because like they were very like, it's one of the biggest like animals and one of the most distinct animals in North America. So maybe that's why people wanted to hunt them, because it was like, oh, you know, the whole thing about like people want to like dominate like, you know, bigger species. And you're like, yes, even despite the fact that this thing is bigger and it's like taller and it's more powerful than I'm the one that has remained victorious. Maybe it has something to do with that. But again, super sad. Though I didn't know that the moose can swim. I didn't know. Before today, I would have never had imagined that moose could swim, because it's like, how come I have it in my brain? I don't know. I'm totally wrong about this, but I have it like, if it's a mammal, and which you know, obviously there's a mammal. And it's not just the fact that it's a mammal, but also like it's so like big and sturdy that it's like, I'm not sure that they can swim, because it's like, you're so big and also you're a mammal that you're not really used to being around the water, and you're so heavy that like, how come you're able to swim? Maybe not just like swim, because I know that dogs, for instance, like they're not technically, you know, they're not like animals that, you know, they're not water animals, that if you throw a dog into the water, of course it's going to be able to swim. So maybe it's a little bit of like that. I was maybe expecting something of the sort, but it's like, no, they actually like swim like because they can. They're kind of like good swimmers. It's like, okay, well, yes, again, I think that, like there's and like, because of like, I don't know, evolution, I think a lot of mammals, like at least instinctively, we know as humans, we know how to swim. But it's funny to think of like a moose swimming. Like, I've never seen that in my life, which I would love to see in real life. They also think like the bear. I love bear. Like, they're so cute, and I know that they're pretty dangerous, but I didn't know that they were like that dangerous. Like, they actually like they kill a lot of humans, you know, yearly, which is crazy, because it's like, I don't know. Because again, it's kind of like crazy to think of like in this day and age, like, animals are still like, animal attacks are still like that dangerous. I would expect maybe, you know, like sharks, for instance, to be like a really dangerous animal that probably like kills more humans like yearly, if you see the statistics. But it's like, no, it's like bears, for instance, they kill a lot of humans. But it's not just like, it's not their fault. It's not their aggressive. Although I do know that obviously if you see a bear, well, actually, I don't know what you should do if you see a bear. Do not run, probably. Maybe they can smell fear. Then probably they're going to think you're prey if you start running. So I don't really know. Maybe I should read up a little bit of like how to defend yourself against a bear. But it's funny that it's like, yes, well, it's not like funny, but it's like they're so cute, they're adorable. They almost like look like a dog. There are some dogs that kind of like look like bears. I don't know how to explain it, but obviously not like a German Shepherd. But there are some animals, some dogs specifically, that kind of look a little bit like there's some resemblance to bears. Which is like, they are so cute, and you just want to like, oh, I want to hug them, but it's like, no, they're dangerous. Obviously, do not go to the bear. But again, it's like they're kind of aggressive, but you know, not as specifically. They don't want to hunt you down. I think animals in general, they're not going to be thinking of you, a human, as prey. There's no like, oh, they love human, the taste of like human blood, of human flesh. It's like, no, it's not like that. He's just gonna be thinking, well, you're prey, because again, it's an animal, and it's kind of sad. Again, it's like the animal attacks don't come because they're more aggressive. It's just the fact that we again as humans have decimated their natural habitat, and that's why they approach like human like settlements, and that's why there's probably like more sightings, and why it's more dangerous is because of course you're taking like, that's their habitat, and of course if you start building houses and towns and cities like in their place, in you know, the place that they have lived for hundreds of years, it's not their fault. So it is kind of like sad. It's a sad situation, because it's like, on one hand, obviously it sucks that they're killing humans, but on the other hand, it's like, well, but not to victim blame, but it's kind of like your fault. It's the human's fault, because you shouldn't really, you know, you're basically, you know, you're kind of like, I don't know, I don't want to. You're conquering like their territory. Like you're the bad guy in this situation. You're taking out like their habitat. So it is kind of like, again, humans like not so good. Like not everything that humans do like it's good. But as in like the whole like battles, I'm like, well, it's funny that again the moose one, like they were like very similar. I have to say that the one that also like the bears, they're very like, again, it's like you can see it's a bear, but I don't really know enough about bears to be like, oh yes, I can see that that's like a grizzly bear, that's a black bear. I don't know what type of bear they are, but they look pretty similar. The ones that they're like the ones, you know, that I'm surprised, like it's very funny, the badgers, because it's like, oh, it's a badger, and they look similar enough to think of like it's the same animal, but at the same time different enough to be like, I'm actually wondering, like, are they a different species? It's so funny that you can probably see how evolution works in like real time. They look like cousins. It's like, yes, they look like, you know, it's a cousin, because it's like you can see how similar they are, and it's like, yes, I'm wondering like what sort of evolutional advantages had in their different like habitats that make them like so different, but at the same time so similar. It's so funny. I love seeing those stuff like that, because it's like they're so similar but at the same time so different. The American one is like more, it looks more like a ball. I don't know, like it's more round. The little ears are like little round ears, and the other side like has like pointy ears. And of course the behavioral, like their behavior is quite different. But it just like the physicality of it all is like so funny, because it's like they definitely look like cousins. And it's like, again, bears, I know that there's like so many different types of bear that it's kind of impossible to say like, oh yes, you know, to actually identify them unless you are actually like you've been informed, or maybe like you've read up on this. The otters, it's the same, like it's an otter, like I don't know, they both look like so similar that I really couldn't say like, oh, couldn't tell you one's is a European otter. But I think apparently the North American ones are probably like not friendlier, but maybe more playful, or maybe that's the way. That again, I don't know if it's like by nature, or is this like they've been caught up in more like, you know, in more playful like ways and matters, and the European one hasn't had the chance to actually like be recorded in some playful situations, because I think their behavior is gonna be like quite similar. They actually look like quite similar as well. So again, it's like funny how some animals are so similar and some others are like, no, they're not, kind of like, again, like the moose situation and the bison situation. Although the bison ones is like, yes, they look really similar. Although again, if you see like the picture of like one's not right next to the other, it's like, oh, I can tell like they're different. But it's really funny to see like, yeah, some of them are different, and some have like little details that make you look like, no, I know that's not the same. But yes, it's funny that the American one, the American side won, because I was thinking, well, maybe it's because they're bigger, but I don't know. It would be quite funny to see them fight or something. Not that obviously I don't want that, but it would be funny to see them an actual like real life fight. Especially like, I think probably the easiest one would probably the bear. Yeah, it's probably the bear one. Like just put like two bears, an European bear and an American bear, like in a cage against each other, and see who wins. That would be crazy, actually. maybe not, but you know, in your wildest dreams, in your wildest imagination, I think it could be like pretty funny to actually take these tests and see like, yes, because it's just they're taking into account like, yes, you know, how hefty they are, how heavy they are, and how big they are. That sometimes, you know, being lighter is actually an advantage in fights. So maybe like they will surprise you. Maybe some of these species are smarter, even though the others are bigger. Like maybe the other one, the opposite side, is actually smarter. So I don't know, but yes, I'm surprised by the fact that the United States, well, North America actually like won, because I was expecting maybe a little bit of a tie, especially after seeing like the animals, because again, they're so like similar that it's like, you can't believe the North American side won. But yes, this was very interesting, and I'll see you next time. Bye!